excited to be kicking off tonight's Big Future Live event, Your Internship, Your Future. A little bit about me. I'm from Kissimmee, Florida, and I'm a senior at Tohopecalega High School. I'm also a Big Future ambassador. I'm one over 9,000 high school student leaders who help others plan for life after high school. I know it's probably been a long day at school or work, and so for the parents and educators with us, we are so thankful that you're joining us today. For those of you who don't know, Big Future Live is a series of virtual community events where you connect with college reps, career experts, and peers to help you plan for life after high school. Big Future Live was created so you can get your questions answered to plan your future your way. The end of the school year is right around the corner, and so it's time to start thinking about your summer plans. Many of you are here to learn more about internships and how they can provide you with hands-on experience to help you explore potential careers. For me, I want to be a teacher, and so I volunteer at my old elementary school. I create mini interactive assignments for teachers to use in small groups for tutoring. I grade tests, and I track student data. I also love hearing advice from teachers themselves, and it's a wonderful hands-on experience. Today, we're joined by 3 college and career planning experts who are here to answer your questions. So get your questions ready, and welcome to the Big Future Live family.
Thank you so much, Sabrea, and thank you to all the students, parents, and caring adults joining today. Welcome to tonight's Big Future Live event, Your Internship, Your Future. My name is Greg. I use he, him pronouns, and I work here on the Big Future team. Big Future is a team of educators, parents, college and career planning pros, and just a group of folks who are really committed to helping students take the right first step after high school. Now, as Sabrea said, our goal at Big Future Live is to answer your questions. So know that you're not going to sit through a ton of PowerPoint presentations tonight. This is a virtual community powered by students, parents, and of course, your questions. Now, I see a ton of folks are joining, which is great. So let's go ahead and get started by meeting our panelists for today. Awesome. And I'll ask each of you to introduce yourselves. Tell us your name, where you're from, what's your job, and give us a fun fact. Gwyneth, I'll start with you.
Oh, me up first. Thank you, Greg. As Greg already said, my name is Gwyneth. I work with one of Big Future's partners, ustrive.org. We are a mentoring organization. We connect students with free virtual mentors who help them through the college or career process. And I work in partnerships. So I really just make sure that we have the funds to do the work that we're already doing. I call Richmond, Virginia home, even though I live in DC now. And a fun fact about me is that in my free time, I travel around the DC area and write reviews of different theater things. So plays, musicals, all of that good stuff. I will pass it on to Sakinia.
Thank you so much. Richmond, VA. Of course, I'm from Tidewater, so we have Virginia representing today. My name is Sakinia Welch. I am the College and Career Coordinator at Paul Lawrence Dunbar Senior High School in Washington, D.C. My job is I help our students to find out what they want to do after they walk across the stage. And whether it's college, whether it's career direct, whether it's military, whatever they want to do, my job is to help them figure out how to do it and be successful at it. So fun fact about me is I had something really planned out, and then I was a national champion in discus when I was in for the Masters event like about 5 or 6 years ago. So that's a fun fact about me. I'm a track guy.
Awesome. Thanks, Sakinia. And last but not least, Symphony.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to tonight's session. We're definitely happy to have you here. My name is Symphony Henry. I am the College and Career Coordinator at Coolidge Senior High School in Washington, D.C. As a college and career coordinator, very similar to Sakinya, I work to help prepare students for life after high school, in addition to working with our school administrators and counselors to help provide college and career planning curriculum so that students are also exposed to their options in high school as they make that transition. I am a Chicago native, born and raised. So DC is home, but Chicago is my main home. And a fun fact about me, my dad is actually a musician, so he named me Symphony after his love for music.
That's awesome. I love that. I love that. And it's so great to know a little bit more about each of you. You're definitely the right people for this event and answering some of our students' questions. And speaking of, tonight is all about getting your internship questions answered. But before we get to those, we'd love to know what brought you all to today's event. So for our audience members here, go ahead and answer the quick poll on your screen. What are you most interested in learning about today? And while you're answering that quick poll, just a couple of additional housekeeping items. All of you will see that there is a ask a question box at the bottom of your screen where you can type in your questions. We're all about answering your questions here at Big Future Live, so please don't be shy. We're going to get to as many of those questions as possible. And finally, if you miss anything during tonight's event, if you have to walk away for any reason, don't worry. The recording is going to be available later at bigfuture.org/live, so don't miss it. All right, let's see. What are folks most interested in learning about? I mean, the overwhelming majority here wants to know how to find an internship, which is great. And I think we have some folks here who are ready to answer those questions. So let us go ahead and dive in. Our first question is going to be for you, Symphony. Tamia wants to know, how much do internships matter to get into a good, prestigious college? And what types of internships are most impressive?
Thank you, Tamia, for your question. I definitely think as far as the type of internships, most colleges and universities want to see just your experience. I don't think it's necessarily about the type of internship, but the fact that you've actually done something, right? And particularly an internship that may align with a career interest or the major or a study that you're interested in pursuing. So I think focusing on finding some type of opportunity that aligns to either your career goal will be helpful versus trying to pinpoint a particular organization because of their name or the prestige. Colleges just want to see your involvement. And then for your second question, I think it was around what type of internships are impressive. Again, think about your career interests. What is the ultimate goal? What is it that you want to accomplish? And use that as the foundation as you start looking at internship opportunities. Don't get caught up in the prestige, but get caught up in the actual value of what it will add to your career and your future.
Great question, Tamia. So think about your career goals and think about the real experience that is the value there, right? Not necessarily prestige. Thanks for that, Symphony. Our next question is going to be for you, Gwyneth. Sebastian wants to know, do colleges take into account whether or not an applicant is interested in a scarce internship area, so one that's not as popular perhaps? And how can you find these opportunities even if they're not a ton where you live?
Great question. Thank you, Sebastian, and thank you, Greg. I fall into kind of the Symphony camp on this. I think it's less about necessarily a scarcity thing or even something that makes you stand out, and more the fact that if you're pursuing what you're passionate about and what you're excited about for your future, a college is going to notice that. And that's what will make you appealing. So by all means, if you have something that you are really excited about, something that makes you feel hopeful, something that really ignites your fire, please do pursue that in an internship. But I'm not sure necessarily that the scarcity of that will make a difference. It's always always great to stand out, but there are many different ways to do so. And then for the second part of your question, I always advise when it comes to finding any type of internship, talk to who you already know. Many of us don't realize that friends of our parents or just folks in our network, guidance counselors, people like Symphony and Sakinia have advice, have very, very valuable experience, and also have connections to other people who might be able to help you get where you're wanting to go. So my first advice when looking for an internship is always think about what you've got, think about who you can talk to, and don't be afraid to ask. I know it's very hard, and people always say this, but the worst thing folks can say is no. So that's what I would advise.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Gwyneth. And great question, Sebastian. So let your passion shine through. Rely on folks in your network, like your counselors, your career and college readiness coordinators. All really great advice, Gwyneth. Our
Can
next,
yeah, just a little bit, because
please jump on in.
Of course, like my colleagues would get the great questions, and I know my question is going to be something that like I have no idea what it is. But what I really want, because I know that from my experience with a lot of the students that I work with, that some of my kids look at internships as a tool for the stand out for colleges, especially if you're applying to some of those highly rejective schools. So you want to do an internship because it's something that you're interested in. No matter what kind of school you go to. I mean, I was really lucky this year that a lot of my top 10 got into like a lot of I say highly rejective because that's what they are. And it's a coin flip. All of those schools are coin flip schools. Our salutatorian got into Georgetown, but he got rejected from UVA. Our valedictorian got into Stanford, but she was rejected from Princeton. So like it really doesn't. And so when it comes down to being able to stand out for those schools, everybody has a 4-point plus GPA. Everybody has a whole bunch of stuff. It's about being true to who you are. So like if you're interested in the internship of like your passion, that will come out to the reader, to those schools' readers. But like if it's just something that you're just trying to pad your resume, then just find something else that you are really interested in, and that's what will shine through when it comes down to college admission and when it comes down to stuff like that. So that's all I wanted to say. Now give me my hard question.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, be true to who you are. Let your passion shine through. That's what's going to get you. That's what's going to get you to where you want to go, right? Well, you asked for it, Sakinia. Your next question is from Alka. Alka has a big question here. How do we go about finding an internship without it taking too much time?
Okay. I mean, Alka, that is a sort of a loaded question, and I'm going to be completely honest. Things that are quick usually aren't worth your time, and things that take longer usually pay off at the end. So when it comes down to it, you really want to take your time to find an internship that meets your needs. If you are interested in finding an internship in the business, look at some of your local businesses. Maybe not a huge Google, if you have a local Google office or like a Fortune 500 company, but like maybe there are local businesses that run tax services or something of that nature. So like that will give you that firsthand experience in business. I know medical for my kids, a lot of kids are interested in nursing, and they ask about what can I do as a high school student when it comes down to the medical profession. And I was like, have you talked to the school nurse? So like when it comes down, so like that is, you're talking to somebody that usually has a medical degree, and then you deal with a lot of things within the school that you can glean some information from. So it's not necessarily like, well, I talked to the hospital. I called the hospital. They don't take high school interns. it's about sort of thinking outside the box and really using your resources, whether it's a counselor, whether it's a mentor, somebody that can really give you that insight on some, like thinking of things that you might not have thought of.
That's great, Sakina, and great question, Alka. Sakina, you mentioned a few examples of industries or types of internships, but let's actually take a step back for a moment. Trinity wants to know, what exactly is an internship? Symphony, can you break that down for us?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's such a great question, Trinity. Thank you for asking that. First, I think internships, and how I often explain it to my students, it's an opportunity to either A, explore careers or explore different interests, or B, get more information about a career that you're already familiar with and see if it's something that may be a good fit for you. So I have students that use internship opportunities because they are in this space as a junior where they are thinking about college, they're thinking about, senior year, but they're not sure about what do they want to study, what do they want to major. And so they use a summer internship going into their senior year as a way to explore. So they may decide, to Sakina's point, they may decide they want to work in the healthcare field, but they're not sure what type of profession they want to do within healthcare. So they use that summer, they use that internship to explore different health careers. But in addition to that, for students who have an idea about what they want to do, but they want to learn more about the career, they use that internship to actually shadow someone within that field, because now they're trying to figure out if this is actually something they may want. And oftentimes students can get an idea of like, okay, hey, actually, I don't want to do this. This is not aligned to what I like. And it was because of that internship experience. Or the internship confirmed those feelings of actually, this is what I want to do. And through this internship, I found that passion. Additionally, internships can be used for networking purposes as well. And I think oftentimes students may miss that with that experience. They're so focused on learning so much about maybe the career or things like that, but they forget to show them the internship program other aspects of who they are and use that as a network or a reference as they go throughout their college and career experience. So I think the big thing with internships are, it's an opportunity for you to explore, but you as an individual make that internship experience. You determine what you want to gain from that based upon how you interact with that program. And again, they can be as big or small as how you position yourself within the experience.
That's great, Symphony. Yeah, it is what you make it. And I think it's a really good perspective on what an internship could be valuable for. Again, explore careers that are new to you, confirm whether or not you want to do something, or maybe you don't want to do it, or, delve a little bit deeper into something that's already of interest. So thank you so much. And thanks for the question, Trinity. All right, Gwyneth, we're getting a lot of questions here about money, which everyone's concerned about. Annabelle says, are there paid internships? Brad has asked, how many of internships out there are paid? 50%, 75%? What can you tell us about money?
Great question. I thought I left this kind of math behind when I chose an English major, but here we go. I'm going to try. So to answer all of those questions, kind of first things first, yes, there absolutely are paid internships. On the flip side of that, as it sounds like many of you already know, there are also unpaid internships. I really don't know the exact ratio of what's paid versus what's not off the top of my head. And when thinking about that, that is a really important factor, right? Like some of us can't afford to take internships that don't pay. Some of us are lucky enough to be able to do that. So really sitting with that money question and what is available to you is a really, really helpful thing when deciding both whether you want an internship and also what kind of internship you are looking for. I wish I had more help in terms of being able to tell you an exact percentage. But what I will say is if you know you need a paid internship, absolutely go out there and look for a paid internship and only take a paid internship if that's what works for you. You can search for those. You can ask around for those, but they absolutely do exist. And you are absolutely welcome to find that kind of internship if that's what works for you. So not an exact ratio, not an exact percentage breakdown, but just know they are out there, and you can use all of the means at your disposal that everyone on this call has already talked about to try to find one that works for you.
That's great, Gwen. I think that's what folks need to hear, that they are out there. So if you're looking for them, rely on your network, search on the internet, use folks who are close to you to help you find one. Our next, go ahead, Sakinia.
I was going to say, I get that question a lot for my kids. And so I start with like telling them to go to Indeed.com. And I wish this was a something paid that I could say that I'm shouting them out. But like Indeed really works well. And like if you just put like high school student paid internship, and then you can put your particular city, it'll say like where what those internships are and figure out which one is going to be the best fit for you. Of course, there are a lot more unpaid internships than paid, but that's a good place to start.
Great tip, Sakinia. And I'll get the next question to you as well. And this is from Sumaya. Sumaya wants to know, in what year in high school do companies start to look for high school interns? Are they looking for juniors, looking for seniors, freshmen? What do you think?
Well, normally, if you're looking for a paid internship, you have to be old enough to work in your particular state. So I would start there for whether it's 15, 16 years old for a paid internship. But when it comes down to other internships, it really is like leveraging that relationship with whoever your internship person is. If you have a relationship with the internship provider, or if you reach out, like a lot of people will work with high school, either sophomores, maybe even a freshman, if you can actually say that you are mature enough to handle working in an environment and the experience that it takes. So it really depends on like the experience that you're going for. It might be easier for a younger person to get an internship in a business environment than maybe a medical environment where you're going to be in a different medical environment where you're dealing with different things. So it really depends on what you're looking for. But I would say that no matter what age you are, if you are serious about going for an internship, go for it and look for and do that outreach. If you get a no, then maybe that person can say, well, we can't hire you for an internship, but I know this other person that can. So don't be scared to get a no, and make sure you just put yourself out there, and you can definitely find something from that way.
That's great advice, Kenia. Symphony, did you have something?
I did. In addition to that, I always encourage students to start with your school teams, right? You have your high school counselors, you have your teachers, people that you see every single day. I know I can speak, especially from the high school counselor perspective, and as a college and career coordinator, we often in my city, we often get internship opportunities for our students on a daily basis. And so, and oftentimes we are looking for kids to, hey, this person, let me see if this is an opportunity for them. So I often encourage students to start with their counselors, or if you have someone in your school building that is responsible or works with any type of college and career post-secondary, that's also a great place to start. Also, just think about start forming relationships with people in the community. I think community building is a huge part of internship opportunities. Again, it can be just stopping by. Maybe you have a store, or maybe there are local mom and pop shops where, they're always looking for students to come in and try to, maybe help out and learn things about the business. Again, it may not be directly aligned to your career interests, but sometimes just that act of reaching out can open up a door for something else.
Awesome.
I'll just add one more thing to that,
Please.
Symphony, because I love what you said. I just want to add that all of those people that Symphony mentioned want to help you. I know that it can be really, really scary to take that step, and really, it can feel really intimidating. It's so strange to ask for that kind of thing, but like 99% of the time, people are going to be happy to help you. So just in case you needed that extra encouragement to go ahead and do it, take that step forward, please do. Everyone is rooting for you.
Awesome. Awesome. Absolutely. To underline just some really, I think, key tips that everyone mentioned here. Community building is really important. Rely on folks who are around you. People want to help you. Don't be afraid to ask. And don't be afraid to hear no, because no could mean no, not me, but there's someone else out there who I can refer you to. So put yourself out there and find those opportunities. All right, Symphony, I have another question for you. We have Betty and Sarah. They both have questions about internships in game design. So Betty wants to find an internship in game design. And Sarah is also interested in that type of internship. Where do they go? How do they find one?
Yeah. So I'm not sure if Betty and Sarah are from a school that has a game design program or things like that. But if you are a part of a club or organization that's specific to gaming, I will start with your mentors or your teachers within that program. If it's something that's very specific just to an interest that you may have, I would kind of piggyback off of Sakinian's idea of starting online with either Indeed or maybe going to your counselors and asking, are there any organizations or websites that I can use to search for those opportunities? The other thing I want to mention is, even if it's not in gaming, let's say there's an internship opportunity maybe in film or some other type of tech related field, that learning the skill from that internship can then help develop your skills as a future game designer. I will encourage you to think outside the box that way. It may not be specifically titled game design, but maybe it is computer programming, or it could be IT or something around the tech field. Sometimes having those foundational skills and understanding in that field or in that internship could open the doors to be connected to individuals who may be in that specific career. So I would encourage you to think outside the box. Again, I would start with my school, have a conversation with your teachers, counselors. If you're in a program within gaming, start there, and then be creative in your approach on finding opportunities as it relates to your long-term goals.
Thanks so much, Symphony. Sakinia, Paresia has a question about another specific field here. Paresia is a junior in high school, interested in the medical field, and would love to know what it's like to be an intern at a hospital. What advice do you have for them?
Well, that's a great question, and it sounds like you really are locked in of what your interests are. So that's awesome. For your internships at a hospital, not sure what part of the country you're in, but I would just definitely reach out to the HR department at the hospital. That's the first place where you can start. Again, at the beginning, I said that you can also check other healthcare professionals. Like, the easiest thing is check with the clinic in your high school, and the school nurse there. And then I would definitely check with the school nurse there. If you're still other healthcare professionals, whether check with your primary care doctor. So definitely there's other means to get that information. A hospital is a very, I'm trying to think of the word, but it is a very fast-paced environment, and it might be hard to get an internship there. It depends on, because there's so many aspects of a hospital. There's intake, there is HR, there are nurses, there are doctors, so it's so big that it might be hard for to get a high school internship. That'll be worth your time. And depending on what level of the medical field you're interested in, it might be easier to start with somebody a slower pace at your personal doctor, especially somebody that hopefully you have a relationship with, that you've been going to your pediatrician for X amount of time. And then even if you can't get your pediatrician can't intern there, your pediatrician should could point you in the right direction of someplace where you can get that experience for in the medical field. So I hope that helps.
That's great, Sakinia. Thanks for that advice. Our next question is for you, Gwyneth, and it's from Valid. Valid asks, how do you find an internship in a film production company when most of them only offer internships to college students? And I think this actually applies to a lot of different internships that say they're for college students. How does a high school student actually get that experience?
Oh, such a great question. So I guess I'll go with my first instinct first, which is that there are sometimes not formal internship programs at places that would love to have an intern. So if there's a particular production company, if there's just a particular, I know Sakinia mentioned local business, anything that's around you in general, even if they don't have, you go on the website, you know, there's no like work with us internships box. You can always just reach out, email and be like, hey, do you all need some extra help? And if so, how can I be of use? So you can always reach out, even if there's no formalized internship program. And that's always good because if there's no necessarily formalized internship program, there aren't necessarily parameters. So they might be open to having a high school student instead of a college student. With that, as I think also Sakinia mentioned before, going to Indeed or LinkedIn or any kind of job service and just searching high school internships specifically can be really, really helpful there. I know a lot of places in the DC area, especially arts related, do only do like college and post-college apprenticeships or internships. So it can be really difficult, but using that as a search tool, and again, relying on the people who are already around you can be really, really helpful in that regard. But I'd say my biggest piece of advice specifically for finding something that might not be just available to college students is check out places that might not have their internship program advertised or might not have it formalized quite yet.
Gwyneth, that's such great advice because, you know, how would we know if they have an internship or not without, you just have to ask, right? Jump on in.
Yeah. And then I think a lot of our kids tend to like aim high, and so I'm interested in a movie studio. How can I do this? But I live in DC, so like you can still get that same experience just on a smaller scale. Let's look at your local news station. Let's look at if you're in a city that has a university. Most universities have TV or radio stations that you could get that information, that you can get that experience. You might even be able to audit a class, a TV or film class at a school if you just want to get that experience. So I know that if you are interested in film, you're like, how can I work for Pixar? But you might want to get that experience on a smaller level, and then like as you go to college and then get that and get more experience, then once you get in college and you do have that college internship at Pixar, you can say that I started off working at WXJI, and now I have my classwork, and now I'm trying to get work here at Pixar. So
I was going to say my final thing to add to that is social media, right? You guys are in the era of social media. You have access to so many different platforms. Sometimes a simple tweet or an IG post can really be the difference between I have this idea of an internship opportunity and now it's being shared with different people and you are connected with the right person who can help you explore that. So tap into your social media networks. I think sometimes we don't think about them when it comes to this process, but it is a great tool as you start preparing.
All really great tips. Thank you all so much for sharing. And I'm sure there are some folks in our audience here who maybe are unsure of what they want to intern in, or unsure of what their next career step is going to be. One way that students can start exploring careers is through the Big Future Career Quiz. So students, right now you can log in to bigfuture.org and take a less than 10-minute career quiz. It's super quick to complete. It's going to ask you questions about your interests, what you like to do. Then after you take that quiz, you'll actually get a list of 30 potential career recommendations and profiles that you can explore. And that might help you identify, hey, where do I want to intern? You can also save those careers that you're interested in and save them to a career list to reference them later. And here's the best part. For our 10th and 11th graders, when you save 3 or more careers to your list on Big Future, you'll be automatically entered into drawings for $500 and $40,000 scholarships. All you need to do is save 3 careers. Amira from Philadelphia started her career list and she won $40,000. Check it out.
We're actually here for a really exciting reason. So I'm going to ask, is Amira Hainsworth in the room? Amira, would you mind coming up here? I'm going to put you on the spot, Amira. Oh, no. Amira, I have a question for you. Do you remember going on the Big Future website? Come here, turn around. Turn around. Do you remember going on the Big Future website? Yeah? Hello? Amira,
all I know is that I got a $40,000 scholarship. All my family just walked to the door. All I did was just go on the computer and just play around with what they told me. And now I got $40,000 set behind me. In my head, I was like, I'm probably not going to win this, but like, I'm still do it. Don't have disbelief, I guess. Look out for opportunities. Every opportunity that I see, I apply for it. I always thought, what life in high school be? Where I'm going to be? Will I be home? Will I be in Philly? Will I be there? Don't let that scare you. So it's not.
Would you like to take in?
Yep, over. My name is Amira Hainsworth, and I just won a $40,000 Big Future Scholarship.
You can take it right now as you're watching this event. Every month we'll award 2 $40,000 scholarships and hundreds of $500 scholarships. So the sooner you complete these steps, like starting your career list, the more chances you'll have to qualify. And who knows, you could be our next $40,000 winner. But back to our questions here. We've talked a lot about internships, types of internships, how to find one. Let's talk about how you actually prepare for an internship and for an interview. So our next question is for you, Symphony. Zadriana wants to know, what is the application process like for an internship?
Zadriana, this is a great question. I think first, when students are starting to think about applying for internships, I think it starts with first like a resume, right? And so how have you marketed yourself, or what type of things have you done either in high school, or maybe you've done some stuff in the community through community service, or maybe you've taken classes, maybe it's AP courses or other classes that you feel like that you want to share and market as you think about these opportunities. So I would definitely start with getting a consensus about what type of applicant you will be, and start compiling those different things. Also, we talked about social media. Now, many high school students have started LinkedIn pages, or they have other social media platforms where they're using that to market themselves. So I also encourage students to create a LinkedIn page and start, kind of using that as a digital form of a resume. So you can quickly have that readily available. So if you are seeking out opportunities, you can either post your interest on LinkedIn or have that link ready to send out to potential employers. So yeah, definitely start with the resume process. You can have someone sit down with you, kind of help you build out the things that you've done throughout high school, or maybe classes that you've taken, and kind of go from there, and really, highlight yourself as the amazing scholar that you are.
Great advice, Symphony. Build your profile, build your resume to get started. Gwyneth, the next question is going to be for you. Joanna wants to know, how do I prepare for an internship interview?
Perfect. I love this question. As being the theater nerd that I am, I'm always going to say practice, practice, practice. rehearse, 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 to where it kind of becomes muscle memory and you have these things that you want to say about yourself just kind of ready on the books, and you can really just feel at peace and feel yourself in that interview process. Always a good idea to just do a quick Google search of kind of what people are likely to ask in an interview. And then from there, you can take those questions and ask someone to do a mock interview with you. That can be one of your friends. It can be an adult in your life, but just having them sit down with you and ask you those questions so that you can really start to practice saying them out loud and what it's like to answer them in real time is so helpful. It feels so silly at first, but it really, really makes a difference. And then beyond that, just kind of brainstorming what your answers are, brainstorming what you want to say about your accomplishments, brainstorming what you want to say about your strengths. A lot of different places will ask about your strengths, about your weaknesses, why you're particularly interested in working with that company even. So it's always even a good idea to do a little bit of background research on wherever you are having the interview, just so you can come to the table prepared. So I guess in summation, taking a look at what questions are likely to be asked, doing some research, both on, and maybe even some writing on what you want your answers to be, on what this company might be looking for, on what this job or internship really entails, and then going ahead and really sitting down, having that practice session or mock interview with someone and giving yourself the time to practice and really internalize all of that.
That's great advice, Gwyneth. Thanks so much. And thanks for the question, Joanna. Our next question, and probably our last question, is going to be for you, Sakinia. Ragav wants to know, if I'm not able to get an internship or have an internship, is it the end of the world? Sorry, I think your audio is off there, Sakinia.
Okay.
There you go.
Like I said, that's an easy one. Absolutely not. It is not the end of the world. You are in high school, and you have so much more to offer a college or whatever career path that you're interested in, and then an internship that you are attempting to get. Like I said in the beginning, that if you are truly interested in whatever career field that you are trying to get an internship in, you can get more information and a lot of information from a variety of different ways. It doesn't have to be an internship. Now, if you want an internship, and then you can try to find different ones. It might be harder for people that are in different parts of the country that don't have as many resources as somebody in DC or a major metropolitan area. So, like, to make a long story short, because I love this topic and I'll ramble. No, it is not going to be the end of the world. You can definitely get experience any type of way, and that is not going to hinder you from any of your goals or aspirations that you have for yourself. So, if you don't get one, keep your head up. You'll be fine.
That's great advice, Sakinia. Students need to hear that. Keep your head up. It's not the end of the world, and y'all be great. Last question for each of you. This one's going to be rapid fire to close us out. What's your one piece of advice to help students make the most of an internship? Rapid fire. Symphony, you're up.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a firm believer in authentically showing up as yourself. And so I encourage you to just be yourself, be authentic, be real. And honestly, take the time to talk with someone and think about your experiences. Oftentimes, you guys have done a lot of these things that are internship-like without an official title. And so having those honest conversations, maybe it's with your family, it's with your counselors, it's with your community, whoever you are close with, talk with them about some of the things that you are interested in and what you want to do, and then document those experiences. But more importantly, be yourself. I think programs, colleges, they want to see the real come out when they look at applications, when they look at opportunities. So be honest and just be authentically yourself.
Thanks, Symphony. Gwyneth, what's your piece of advice?
I would say along similar lines, my advice is to be intentional. This process is about you. It's about what you want and what's going to help you learn. So I'd say the more that you can think about what you want out of an internship, think about where you're coming from, think about what you want your experience to be like, the more you'll be able to put your best foot forward for whatever that internship is, and also just for yourself. Because again, this is about you, your future, and what you really want. So be intentional, try to think it out.
Thanks, Gwyneth. Last but not least, Sakinia.
Both of those answers are so good. I would say, along with everything that that Gwyneth and Symphony said, is to have fun. You have, as somebody that is probably the elder statesman on this call by all the gray I have in my beard, you have so much time to figure out what you want to do in life. And everything, I know a lot of my students think that you have to have everything figured out by your time you were like 22 or whatever. And that seems so old to them, or to some of you on this call. And I'm like, oh yeah, that was such a long time ago for me. And it took a lot of different things and ups and downs and different trails to find my personal joy and satisfaction. I love what I do right now, but my major was nothing to do with this. And the experiences that I had coming out of high school were sort of like tangentially in this area, but like I really didn't think about it when I was working with like my friends to help them like go to college and stuff like that. I enjoyed that, but I never thought that was going to be a career. So really at 16, 17, 19, 14, however old you are on this call, that have fun with what you're trying to do. Find an internship, find an experience. It doesn't have to be an internship. I like using the word experience. That really like something that you can enjoy and learn from. And then that is going to put you in the best place to go wherever your big future leads. Oh, that was good. Y'all owe me some money.
That was great. That was great, Christina. Thanks for closing us out. So y'all, be authentic, be real, be yourself, be intentional, and make sure you remember that this experience, this internship, is about you. And finally, just have fun. And unfortunately, we could talk about this for hours, but that's all we have time for today. Thank you so much to our panelists and to Sabrea for opening tonight. Thank you all for being here. And thank you to our students and caring adults joining Big Future Live. We'd love to hear how today's session went. So please fill out that feedback survey that you'll be automatically directed to once the event closes. And if you missed anything during today's session, don't worry, you can view that recording for free at bigfuture.org/live. And lastly, you don't want to miss our next event, which is in 2 weeks on April 20th, where we're going to answer all of your questions about financial aid. You can register at bigfuture.org/live today. Thanks everyone so much and have a great night.